Vancouver's real estate market isn't just cooling, it is collapsing. Pre-sales are failing, developers are defaulting, and thousands of units are sitting completely unsold. This is no longer just about interest rates or affordability. Entire companies are falling into receivership, CEO mansions are being foreclosed, and construction job losses are piling up faster than permits can be pulled. If you're in real estate, if you're in construction, or even just a homeowner, this affects you. So let's break down exactly how deep this crisis runs. Today, I'll be walking you through what's been happening behind the headlines. We're going to dive into the pre-sale collapse, the fall of thin properties, and the economic hit BC is already facing. So stick around to understand where we go from here and what it means for you, depending on where you are on your real estate journey. As we get into a market overview here, don't get fooled by what the media companies are saying. Yes, sales are up. Yes, they've been up month over month or year over year, but that does not mean the market is changing. There are some mixed signals as sales are up 1.2% annually, but still well below the 10-year average. That is not growth, it is stagnation disguised as stability. Meanwhile, active listings have surged by 24.4%, creating what many are calling a silent oversupply. The composite benchmark price is flat, just up 0.5% year over year, showing that buyers are hesitant and sellers are still stuck. This is what a pivot year looks like. No one knows which way the market is pivoting yet. Yes, we just got some relief with interest rates, and I have seen on the ground a little bit of an uptick in terms of buyers, some multiple offers I've been part of both on the buy side and on the sell side, but we are still a ways away, and it's going to be very interesting in the spring and the later months here in Q4 if the Bank of Canada is going to continue to reduce rates. Some are saying that we could see another 2 possibly by the spring. And we are needing that policy rate, which is sitting at 2.5%, down to 2% to see a real change in the marketplace. So are we going to get to that point? Is it going to come at some point next year? It's really hard to say, but in the here and now, it is just a disaster, especially when we are talking about the pre-construction market collapse. And the biggest red flag in Vancouver's market right now is the pre-construction sales are just imploding. According to the Urban Development Institute, 80% of the population can't afford today's construction costs. That is a broken model, and it's tanking the entire pre-sale sector. We are seeing a 53% decline in concrete high-rise pre-sales compared to last year. Worse, still 61% of current pre-sale units are in the danger zone, well below the 70% needed to secure construction financing. If builders can't break ground, we just don't lose housing, we lose jobs, economic momentum, and future affordability. If you look on the chart here, you can see in the danger zone, the pre-sale crisis, and what you'll see in the dark green is the danger zone here. So of the 16,589 pre-sale units on the market, this is from Q2 of 2025, as mentioned, 61% fall into the danger zone with sales below the 70% threshold required for construction financing. This represents an unprecedented crisis in project viability, threatening the entire development pipeline and future housing supply. You may have heard West Group, who's a massive developer here in Vancouver, just collapsed one of their projects in the River District, and many other developers are doing the same thing. When we talk about developers in trouble, let's talk about thin properties. Once a mid-sized developer with a growing portfolio, now a cautionary tale of what happens when sales collapse and debt catches up. In just 3 months, their Surrey project went into receivership, their Metrotown and Brentwood towers entered insolvency, and they failed to launch new sites in Richmond and Burnaby. This wasn't just a corporate failure, it became personal. And I have worked before my time in construction. I've worked on some of these thin properties. I knew the guys who were involved with this, working out on some towers in East Vancouver. So it is sad to see when companies dissolve like this and it gets to a place like where it is, but this is just showing you that it's not just the homeowners that are being affected, it's also the workforce that is going to be laid off from when companies dissolve, and then it goes all the way to the top. So what do I mean by that? In a shocking move, creditors didn't just go after company assets, they foreclosed on the CEO Daljeet Thin's primary residence and investment properties. One mansion that was assessed at $14.5 million sold under court order for $13.6 million, and another property of his valued at $7.75 million is still up for sale. This isn't normal. Corporate protection usually shields personal assets, but the debt, which was just over $17.1 million, was too high and the walls came crashing down hard. There may be some people out there who are cheering for a move like this when they see someone at the top that is fallen from grace and is being attacked on their personal side, but this isn't just a developer issue. It's bleeding into every trade and subcontractor in British Columbia as well. In July of 2025, we lost over 7,600 construction jobs in the province, and that makes up the construction industry that is 10% of BC's GDP, and half of those workers are in residential housing. What we are seeing now is the ripple effect of stalled sites and canceled projects. What that means is that less development also means less tax revenue, which is bad for everyone who's a resident here in BC. BC is projecting a loss of over $2.2 billion in property transfer taxes, and that money is used for healthcare, schools, roads, and all that is gone. Meanwhile, court-ordered land sales have doubled in the last year. That's the market sending a distress signal, and no one is answering how to get through this as of yet. If you take one thing from this video, it is this. We are no longer in a cooling phase. We are in a full-blown correction that threatens the entire development pipeline, thousands of jobs and future housing supply. This isn't fear-mongering. This is a systemic breakdown in the real estate financing model, and it needs urgent policy intervention before the spiral accelerates. And while the presale market is in a spiral downward, it is going to lead to further consequences down the road. Yes, the market is soft right now. It's a great time to be a buyer, but at some point, with all these projects that are collapsing, all these projects that are being canceled, there is going to be a time when we are going to not have enough housing that's going to catch up. When you take all this stuff out the table, not to mention all the focus on purpose-built rentals, we are going to see a housing shortage in the next 3 to 5 years, and then you're going to see a reversal in this price trend. We need to find a happy medium here, not something that is all or nothing, because when all or nothing happens, there is a big gap to go from one to the other, and when you're in that gap between the two spaces, it is not a fun place to be. And as you can see with this video here, it's not just affecting homeowners, it's affecting a lot of people's livelihood. It's affecting our children, because if we are missing over $2.2 billion in property transfer tax to the province, we can't get the doctors, we can't pay the nurses, we can't pay the teachers, we can't get new schools, and all these things have a ripple down effect. So if you're a buyer, seller, investor, or just concerned about what this means for our city here in Vancouver, this is the time to stay informed. Scan the QR code on my banner to hit the link in the description to book a one-on-one call with me, and let's talk about what this means for your plans, your future, because what happens next isn't guaranteed.